question all the time. This one's for Tom. What is the difference between a condo, a co-op, and a townhome?
I bet everybody here knows the answer to that one. If you own a condo, you own the property. You hold fee simple title to the property within the walls. In a co-op, you are essentially a shareholder. You are a participant in the ownership of the building, not in the ownership of the specific unit in which you reside. A term which I won't be able to repeat, but essentially it's a lease at no fee is signed between the corporation owning the building and you, the buyer of the unit, for your extended use of that space, and entitles you then to market it at some point if you want to resell. Co-ops generally, I presume universally, have a provision for approval of the transaction, meaning that the buying party has to pass muster. The buildings themselves are taxed as a single entity as opposed to the individual residences, so the owners, those being the shareholders in the building, pay into a reserve account monthly with their HOA fee toward the estimated share of the total tax bill applicable to the building. Those are the differences that come immediately to mind between condo and co-op. Townhome is a variation. I live in a townhome because I have a wall that connects my garage to my next door neighbor's garage. Actually, it's my master bathroom, his garage. But only to the extent that we live in a community which is subject to more rules, restrictions, covenants, and such, then would be applicable to a freestanding single-family home. Does my ownership of the townhouse vary from what I had previously?
Did you guys get all that? Because there's going to be a test after this one. Condo and co-op is.
Is that a red flag if they all pay the taxes together as the HOAs?
Yeah, what's a signal? What's a signal to know what you're dealing with? Paying the tax. So you would still be split up.
If you go online looking for ownership for unit number such and such in Warno Plaza, you won't find it. You're going to find, I can't remember the name, but the name of the corporation that owns the building. That would be a dead giveaway as to the nature of the ownership of the property.
There's only, how many co-ops are there? There's at Warno Plaza, there's one like 8 unit, right?
Well, Baltimore.
Yeah.
There's one on Wyoming.
There are a couple of these four
four
units
Uh-huh.
on Wyandotte of Baltimore. There's little peanuts that are co-ops. There are a few buildings over by KU Med that are co-ops, but very few.
But something to know, and for especially people that don't deal with condos a lot, you may want to reach out to somebody because it's a little bit trickier. It's financing. So I was going to go to you next, Andy. So
Co-op's a big problem for some. First-time home buyers that want to put 3 and 5% down and 10% down typically can't get a loan for a co-op. With less than
co-op?
Yeah, we do loans on co-op, but you gotta have 20% down in Kansas City. And a lot of times, not Warno Plaza, but the majority of the co-ops in big cities, especially really high-end co-ops, they sometimes in New York they require 50% down, and they have to. The co-op board has to approve you, so it's typically a formality unless you're.
So if you were to improve your property in the co-op, how does that work? I mean, you pay for that, does it bring everybody up? I mean.
If you do what?
If you were to do a remodel or improvement in your
No,
unit.
the co-op taxes are the best value ever. The co-op, you're taxed as a corporation. So Warno Plaza, there's been talk for years of them splitting up and converting them to condos. If Warno Plaza was converted to condos, the property value would go up 20% overnight. But the tax bill at Warno Plaza right now is probably $100,000 for the whole building. If it was split up and converted into condos, the tax bill, the tax base to Jackson County would probably be $400,000. So they'd make a lot more money. So Jackson County would like it. But that's why a lot of the older people at Warno Plaza, they don't really care about the value. They just want to keep their dues low, which include the taxes.
Until they want to sell.
Until they want to sell.
but the value of their corporate stock could vary. So if they did put improvements into their home, they can sell it for more than their neighbor that may not have the improvements that they
Co-op,
have.
Warnell Plaza, if it was converted to condos, would go up tremendously in the value overnight. Cause right now, I get first-time home buyers that call me that says, God, this place, Warnell Plaza, it's super cheap, I can buy a one bedroom for $100,000. The Soulgrave Regency next door, Tom's increased prices over there so much, he's doing such a good job. They're double the price, and I say, well, you can't get in. If you wanna put 20 or more % down, you can do it. They said, okay, scratch that off the list, I've got 5% down. So, you know, there's a barrier to entry for 50% of condo buyers, people without kids, younger people that are limited with their down payments. Can't buy
The same
co-ops.
question I had a while ago. So with all the stipulations, is there a high percentage of cash buyers for condos also, so that they don't worry about the warranty or is that not?
At Warnell Plaza, and I only use that building because it is the building in the city that is a co-op. Buyers tend to be cash because lending funds for a loan are not available. It is my impression that both Commerce Bank and Nasby, and I think Capital Federal before, have made loans, so many loans in the building that they've kind of reached capacity. That their policy is, we won't take any more. I shouldn't say that about Nasby because I think you can get the loan from Nasby. But at Commerce, what I'm told, and I believe Cap Fed, they say we've got too much tied up in that building at present time, we won't take any more. And so when that happens, the number of options that a buyer has for financing obviously has dropped. So that they
Now,
tend to
so
be
just
cash
the
for that
co-op,
reason.
Or that's condos as well?
That's the co-op.
That's just the co-op. What about condos though, too?
I'd say condos by nature, if somebody's downsizing from a single family house to a condo, they're older, they have cash, and they're just writing a check, not because of lending issues. That's what I see, not because of lending issues as much as just saying, you know, we're selling a house for X amount of dollars in the condos.
When I think the buying world got trained a little bit during the downturn, when we couldn't get any financing, and
Right.
government regulation crushed us, and so we had most of our sales were cash deals there for about 2 years. All right, so actually, Steph, this one's for you. What should a buyer's agent that doesn't know condos very well, what do they need to know to prepare to show condos?
First off, you need to go look at the building. You need to take your time, know the building, know where everything is, before you actually take them in to show it. Second, I really think you need to know what type of loan that your buyer is trying to get. Because some of the buildings are, as Andy mentioned, not approved, like FHA approved, some are cash only, some are conventional. So you really need to know what type of loan that your buyer is getting.
So that you're not showing something that they can't buy.
Exactly. The other thing is too, is there's a lot of agents that are out there, and there's actually one in my office, that list a specific building as cash, conventional, FHA, and VA. And I can assure you, this building is not FHA approved and VA approved, so don't just go by that. Call the agent and ask for sure. Or actually for FHA approval, there's a link that you can go to look to see if a specific building is FHA approved.
.gov.
Yeah.
I had a lift offer, or offer contingent upon the lift program on a non-warrantable unit, and all I could think of is for buyers, that was a huge waste of time.
Yeah.
you know?
One thing that a lot of agents don't do is, I have a write a pre-approval letter and their agent's not really familiar with condos. If you're not really familiar with condos and you know that the listing agent is really familiar, don't feel bad. Call them, ask them and say, hey, not my expertise, what do you think? Or call the lender. If they know condos, you can gauge and see if they know or if they don't, but don't feel bad asking the other agent. If they have a lot of experience, they're gonna tell you right off the bat, no, this building's not VA approved. You can go to the Veterans VA website and see FHA. You know, that most of the people know that have a lot of condo experience because of other transactions they've been a part of, whether they're listing units or they're listing buyers.
Great.
Definitely happy to help.
So I want to pose a question to you too. So what, Anne-Marie, do you think is important when you're getting ready? If you're not a condo person and you're getting ready to show a buyer, what do you need to know? I have one on the top of my head that no one's mentioned, but I'm going to let you.
I think just communicating, like Andy said, like when I see a listing appointment come through, I immediately reach out to that that agent, tell them good luck, ask them if they need any help finding the I-box, especially if they don't recognize their name.
You're so good. She'll show you everything.
I would say prepare your timing differently than you would for
Oh,
single
absolutely.
family homes. So, especially if you're looking at multiple buildings, because you gotta build in time to park. There's certain buildings on the plaza, for example, you're not parking in front of that building during rush hour. So you need to park somewhere else and walk to that building. So just be prepared, know where you're showing, and certainly build in some time, because there's another thing that us condo specialists get to do, and that's be present for a lot of our listings. And so we're gonna be there waiting on you, and if you're running late, we're gonna be looking at our watch going, where are you? So if you are running late, let us know, especially if we have to be there. I appreciate that.
Thank you.